So, good evening, good morning, and good day from wherever you're listening on whichever time of this video is. We are going live. This is a second episode into the series of Wisdom Talk. This series is talking about how to talk to yourself and knowing yourself better. So, in last session, we had a couple of insightful discussion on how to talk to yourself or relationship with yourself, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
insight. All of you have missed on those particular episode. I would recommend everybody to go to our page, search for that link. I would also put a link at the end of this session, or even a link to this previous episode in this live podcast as well. So, I would like to
Yeah.
invite Smita Kadam again. It's really honor and
Thank
really
you so much.
thankful for you for joining Wisdom Seed Talk once again. And today's topic is same on the same line, but I think this is something that we are very sorting off, right? So for our audience who have
Hmm.
not known Smita, she is a tenure life coach, NLP practitioner. She is an techie person or a medical transcript person, a researcher, I would say, who has turned out into a
Research.
author, NLP practitioner, and a life coach now. She is specialized into anxiety coaching, and her new venture that is there, or the venture that she has been pursuing from past almost like a decade, close to a decade, that is all about mindful brainy. That is what she is, a founder and director for this particular institute, and she has been helping more than, I think, close to 1,000 plus. I think a lakh plus. A lakh plus is your vision, but I think close to more than 1,000 plus you have been coaching people on anxiety. So Smita's area is that, and
Yes.
today's topic is very much in the same line. We are going to talk more about how this particular perspective that we can build around a topic which has been very much into our self, like emotional agility in everyday life. Because Smita, you
Yes.
might be aware that everything like 98% or 99% of us operate from emotions, right? In today's world.
101%.
101%. Okay, not even
Yes. Yes.
1%, right?
101. Yeah.
101%
Yeah.
is doing that 1% extra upon 100 because now we are so much emotional about so many things that we require some agility. We are so rigid in terms of how emotional response are there. And when I won't be saying response, we would say response near reactive. We are very reactive to emotions.
React.
And I think that is a major crux of your anxiety, domain that you really deal with. And that is the core of what today's discussion would be, how to achieve emotional agility. So, first of all, I would just like to, get from your side, like what is your technique, Smita, when it comes to, or what was your previous technique, what you have learned and how it has, effectively changed your life 180 degree or 160, 360 degree, what we say, in terms of
Okay.
handling emotions.
You're right. See, if you are asking me this personal question, then I would say that it was the way I could create a distance between me and my feelings,
Right.
because I am above my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings
Mm-hmm.
are coming and going. Same way, the thoughts.
Right.
We misinterpret or misunderstood that we are thoughts, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
like that. Thoughts
Right.
are driving your feelings. However,
Mm-hmm.
you are above the thoughts, above the everything you are above, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you understood that I am a controller,
Mm-hmm.
I have that capacity,
Mm-hmm.
everything get shifted.
Right.
In this moment, how I want to feel,
Mm-hmm.
if that control, remote control I'm having in my hand, then
Mm-hmm.
no situation, no person has capacity to ruin my happiness or
Right.
take charge of my feelings.
Right.
That is what something everyone need to learn. However, if you have not yet learned, situation, life is going to give that lesson very soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely that is something that we are trying to pursue. And I want to understand that what was your means usually we have an emotions, right? And emotion usually come into patterns. So if you look at emotion and patterns, so how a person supposed to understand which emotions what I'm dealing with, because that require our emotional literacy that we supposed to have, like this is my emotion and this is what it is called, because that is very insightful. Because if we just feeling that I'm just feeling frustrated, angry, then we have a very limited glossary or very limited what I can say, what is that called as literacy, emotional literacy. And how it
Hmm.
helps you, like how you discover first that how that emotional literacy has to be done, and what was your call on take on that?
Okay. So first, you tell me that most of the cases, or if you
Mhm.
scan your entire day, which emotion was high?
Hmm.
Were you feeling happy? Were you feeling motivated to work? Were you feeling that yes, I can do it? I have confidence on myself. If
Hmm.
you're spending most of the time in these kind of emotions,
Hmm.
you are good to go. You can handle your fallback, or maybe sometimes if you are hitting the rock bottom.
Hmm.
However, if you are spending most of the time, entire day time, in worrying,
Hmm.
thinking about which is not in reality, maximum cases it is happening only because people are thinking which is not in reality.
Hmm. Hmm.
So today I had a one session with somebody, and she was like, I was about to get a call, interview call from somebody,
Hmm.
and I didn't receive. So she asked that, is there any issue? Her
Hmm.
reply was, your age issue. However, she was thinking that I have already told her about my age, about my gap, and then why that happened.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you tell me, with your understanding about feeling and reaction,
Hmm.
how would you have reacted to it?
Oh my gosh, that is something that I have to really process on that particular part. But yeah, reaction would be definitely I would be a little bit disappointed and nervous and agitated in order to process that particular what kind this kind of question would be. So that is a kind of a default kind of a thing that I would restore to.
So here
Hmm.
is a catch for you.
Hmm.
Things which are in your control and things
Hmm.
which are not in your control.
Right.
If you could have that difference in your hand, you
Hmm.
would
Hmm.
better respond to that situation.
Right.
What
Right.
she is thinking, means that interview person, right? What
Hmm.
she is thinking, what which criteria she is applying today, it's not
Right.
in your control, right?
Very true. Very true. Hmm.
So instead of hitting yourself,
Hmm.
you can ask this question, that what is next?
Hmm. Hmm.
What is
Right.
next? What
Right.
I can do
Hmm.
next?
Yeah, that's a very important point,
So
Smita,
this
that
is
that you
one
have
thing.
pointed out. Yeah, because usually in my counseling or consulting session, I usually make this a point that I always ask my client that was it an opinion or a fact? So most of the time, we are not able to distinguish between the opinion and the fact. Most of the
Yes,
time, we are so opinionated about others' person response that we forget to validate that as a fact or a opinion. Now, opinion for our audience is to be
right,
understood in a very literal word is like somebody's point of view. And somebody point of
right,
view is it can be different, unique, and very personal to that particular person, which is not related to the fact in reality. And 90% of the time, the same thing. Because we have that evidence of Chinese whisper. So when you get a certain kind of whisper and that is
mhm,
transferred to a lot many people, every person add their own, a bit of a exaggerated information or somehow missed out information. So you can't totally rely
exactly,
on
exactly.
opinions. And when you are able to differentiate between opinions, so if I want to give an example, I would say this particular color shirt looks really fantastic on you. Or for your age, like let's say like age was a criteria. Let's say your age is this much and you were supposed to achieve this particular thing. Okay, let's talk about that. Like if you are an age of 40 plus, so you're supposed to have five things checklisted. You should have your home, your car, you should have kids, not one but two. So all those things are there. So now this is an opinion. It is not a fact that everybody at 40 is supposed to have that. But we get so agitated with
Exactly.
the opinion, and we don't consider the fact that are you happy with whatever choices you have done? Are you regretting with the choices? And regret also come from, are you comparing to that level? So as you said rightly, Smita, that yes, we supposed to see in what is controllable and what is not controllable elements of this particular opinion or situation. So it is one of
Exactly.
the Stephen Covey's highly effective habits of highly effective individuals,
Yes.
in which he talks about the circle of influence, and there is a larger, description in that how you supposed to go. There are three circles of influence that comes into in play when you have to take decisions, and where you have
Right.
to invest your emotional and physical bandwidth. So that is very important. So you rightly pulled that particular point, because that is something very important. So for our audience,
Right.
yes, what is controllable, what is not controllable, and what is opinion and what is fact. So that comes out when you have to
Yeah.
understand the patterns that you are looking into your daily understanding of emotions. Okay.
Right.
So next
Right.
question that I want to ask Smita is like how role of childhood conditioning and repeated experience can be parted as emotional patterns.
It impact very much because
Mm,
in NLP or CBT also it has been
mm,
um told that 7 to 12
mm.
is the age when you develop your blueprint for success, I would say.
Right, right.
The way you are going to behave, the way you are going to achieve, everything is getting imprinted. However, yes, there are few cases after 12 also they improve in their life, or after that age also they take power leap in their life. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely that childhood experiences contribute in shaping the character of that person,
Mm-hmm.
emotional character,
Mm-hmm.
your career wise, or anything
Mm-hmm.
you can talk, that great shape during that childhood itself.
Right. So how
So if
conditioning is,
I give,
sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. Go ahead.
yeah. So here I always mention this one example that we are the victims of victim.
Right.
We are the victims of victim. The way we have conditioned is
Mm-hmm.
the way our parents got conditioned,
Right.
because they had that much limited knowledge, and based
Mm-hmm.
on that we got that knowledge. However, yes, environmental influence is there, that is also contributing in your personality development, or your the way you are going to see your emotions, feelings,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
we are the victims of victim. Why I'm telling? Because in that age we are very much associated with our family and
Right.
second school,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Once that is done, if it is done properly, you could
Mm-hmm.
see that there is a drastic change. I would say I'm very much resilient in compared to my brother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why? Because he got everything in,
Mm-hmm.
means the attention, then people used to ask him, they were supporting him, encouraging him.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
I was the person who never got these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I was alone, doing and hustling and looking at people and empowering myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel that I have that resilient quotient
Mm-hmm.
more in compared
Mm-hmm.
to my brother,
Mm-hmm.
even if he's a male candidate, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I have that more.
Yeah, but it is very obvious, Smita. I think the same thing that you were talking about, same in my family. I have a younger sister, and if she would have, talked about all her childhood memories, she would have used the same sentence because I felt like, she is like saying in my word, yeah, in my ears right now, what you are saying right now. Because the conditioning that is there, women are far more resilient in when it comes to emotional, handling of things, because In latest, there is one web series that has come out. I just want to educate our audience, and if they have not watched this particular web series, which talks about a crime that has happened by an 13-year-old school-going kid, where he kills one of his classmate, and the web series name is called as Adolescence. If you have not watched it, I would request you to watch it. There is a
Hmm.
4 hours series which is taken by storm in UK. In UK, Parliament has taken an intervention of putting that serial as a part of curriculum for all the primary schools, secondary schools.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
those web series would be shown as a part of what kind of adverse effect can have on an adolescent who is exposed to internet and the toxicity that internet is bringing in, the masculine toxicity or the aggression that is there
Interesting.
in boys. So, when I was talking about this particular element that you talked about, the conditioning, okay, as you said, the childhood memories and the kind of the way we have been taught and raised together, because it's a very sexist kind of a thing that we are talking over here, because male and female part, but somewhere it has act as a kind of a blessing in the curse, wherein women are far more resilient in that particular part. I'm not justifying it, that yes, it is happening, then no, you were getting a good silver line to that, nothing like that. But I think being a reasonable parent, that was the main thing. Parents who are
Hmm.
involved into making your is male and female child, who if in the same family, or even if you have your cousins, you're supposed to raise them equally in terms of emotions. Physically might be a
Yes.
different story altogether. But
Yes.
when it comes to emotion part, when it comes to general neutrality, when I say, I think that is something that has to be practiced not in corporate, but should start in family.
Everywhere. Yes. Yes.
In
It starts
families
from
first.
family. Yes.
In friend
Definitely.
circles, in family, in colleges, in schools, and everywhere that we are operating. So a very valid point, I think, Smita, because we tend to pull that particular information back in our in our ethics by saying that अरे नहीं नहीं girl है तो she would be emotionally stable only because she has that particular thing ना, उसको पहले से adjust करने के लिए हम सिखाते हैं and all those things.
No,
And
no, no.
Hmm.
It's not like that. However, I have listened so many times that women are emotionally cracked,
Emotionally sorry.
right? You are saying that
Hmm.
emotionally cracked means
Cracked. Okay.
they cannot control their
Okay.
emotions,
That's
right? That
functional
is
like.
what I
Okay.
have
Hmm.
listened so many times.
Oh my God.
However,
Okay.
the situation is very different now.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay. So what do you
So
think? Like
in terms of
how
resilience,
uh,
yeah.
how this particular shift has been there? Like, do you think that it is more awareness, the situation, what kind of things comes to your mind?
So it's all about the reflection, the way you are
Mm-hmm.
perceiving things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have last time also we discussed about the way we are perceiving things, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
something has happened wrong with you, what you have learned from that situation,
Mm-hmm.
if you are not taking account of that
Mm-hmm.
learning, definitely you are going to bounce again similar kind of episodes, similar
Right.
kind of incidents, maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe bigger incidents.
Mm-hmm.
Until and unless you learn from it, you are not going to move from that
Mm-hmm.
particular thing. And this is
Right.
what exactly I have implemented in my own transformation, and I teach this same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you are looking back to your life,
Mm-hmm.
just collect those learnings.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm interacting with you, I do have that scanner inside me. What
Mm-hmm.
is there? What I can learn from this person? What I can learn from this situation? How I can relate with my life
Mm-hmm.
and where it can help me.
Mm-hmm.
I know two things: whether it is in my favor or it is not in my favor.
Right.
If I feel that this is in my favor, I will
Mm-hmm.
carry forward.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I will leave. So there come leaving your baggages.
Mm-hmm. I
If you
think.
have done it at right time,
Mm-hmm.
you can achieve things much more faster.
Right. I think, Smita, for you and me, it would be very easy to say that, leave your baggages. I know how that thing sounds like. If we are into a gym and we are like a pro bodybuilders, we can lift 200, 300, 500 kgs because the kind of practice that we have done. When I talk about kgs, I talk about the emotional
Hmm.
labor that we can do together because of the technique, because of the practice that we have done, because of the introspection and self-awareness that we have. But when it comes to a person who
Hmm.
is into his everyday life, okay, so how do you recommend someone, to process emotion instead of suppressing them? Like what? Because we are in a crossroad when we say that you have to be emotionally aware about yourself, but our awareness goes into reaction. Okay, because if I am feeling sad, the next thing that I would do is in behavior to amplify that sadness. That is what I do. Okay, most of us, that is a reaction to it. That is what we have developed. We don't, or second is we suppress it. So, how do you recommend someone who has an emotional episode? Let's say there is some kind of a breakup, or there is some kind of, let's say, somebody has lost their job, somebody has had a fight with their colleagues or something that. So, in that scenario, what are some of the things that you can do as a first aid thing? I know because people can't have entire therapy in this particular podcast that we are doing, but what are the first aid
Yes.
emotional bandages that you can utilize so that there is no what I can say, no bigger wound can happen. So what kind of your recommendation, how to
Okay.
process emotions instead of suppressing them?
I'll just I'll just tell you one sentence
Hmm.
which has a remedy, complete remedy.
All right.
Everything is relative.
Hmm.
This one sentence, if you remember, if you
Hmm.
repeat it,
Mm-hmm.
you get more resilience. You
Mm-hmm.
start seeing any situation with higher state. However,
Right.
you are in a victim state when
Hmm.
you are getting some emotional setback or relationship related things, right?
Hmm.
Nothing is permanent.
Hmm.
That is what I have learned from my experience, as well as it has helped in many situations.
Hmm.
Nothing is permanent.
Hmm.
Even if you want to stop there,
Hmm.
even if you are feeling stuck,
Hmm.
nothing has stopped around you.
Right, right.
Now you are having choice
Mm-hmm.
whether to move
Mm-hmm.
or just stay there.
Right, right.
Even if you
Mm-hmm.
get this much awareness, this will
Mm-hmm.
entirely shift your focus. This will entirely shift your emotional, uh, what you emotionally, the way you are responding.
Right, right. This is a very powerful thing because nothing is permanent. And one of the instances that I want to, share with everybody, I think most of us really start appreciating life, or we like every day is a second chance for us, is only when we see somebody close to us has dismissed or died. Okay. And
Right.
most of the funeral I have been into of my close relative, the consciousness at that point of time is like, yes, I can be next. Okay. That is how, death is very just. You don't have death which is partial. That can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere, no matter
Yes.
how rich, how old, how good looking, or how ugly you are. Everything from which clan or which caste you belong, nothing.
Right.
So that is really just to whoever it is. It is justification is done appropriately. The conscious that you talked about, that no, nothing is permanent. And one practice that was done in Anapansati or in Buddhism, that is done that before you go and become a monk, that particular monk has to go to Smashan Bhumi, or where chitas are burned, and he has to do meditation over there. He has to watch. He wants to see who is coming in. A rich, king, soldier, deceased, beggar. All of them are coming in and they are being burned in the same way. Definitely, king would be burned in
Yes.
sandalwood, that is a different story, but they would be burned at the end. Whatever
Yes,
remains after
definitely.
that is ash. There is always
Yes.
a saying that nothing is permanent, no matter which role you play. At the end of the chess board or game, you go back to a box. So this is very important and insightful thing. If you every day, if you do this kind of a meditation, where you see that I might, or even Steve Jobs used to have this kind of a quote written that is called as
If this is my last
"If
day,
this is my last day," and that has actually come
if
from
this is my last.
yeah, that has come from a Latin word that is called as I think memento mori. So memento mori is a Latin word, and it is coming from this thing. What do you call that? Stoic philosophy. So Stoic
Okay.
philosophy
Mm-hmm.
talks more about memento mori. So memento mori means
Mhm.
this is the last moment of your life. So what you will do? Okay, like death is inevitable. That what he is talking about. So if you know death is inevitable and you know that this is the last moment, how much of weightage you want to give to this particular emotion in this particular instance? The same thing, but in different angle. Nothing is constant. You will
Yeah.
die soon, or you might die next moment. The only thing is the perspective. And I think the only thing that coaches like us take the action more rigorously is somewhere in the conscious we know that. Somewhere we know that you never know that what we know that we never know that
Yeah.
what would happen. So that is there. So
Yes,
yes,
definitely.
so
Definitely.
that is something that you can draw a parallel line that yes, when you're processing emotion, you have to see that, as Smita said, that is it helpful for me or not? Is it helpful for me to live a life which is more peaceful? I'm not saying at least 1% peaceful. Hai, so let's work on that. Let's go to that particular thought or leave that thought. That is the only thing that you can do. So
Yeah.
when you do this
So
kind
there
of
are many ways you can
uh,
leave.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So it becomes very difficult when leaving thoughts or leaving that emotion,
Hmm.
and that can be done through NLP. You can
Hmm.
shift your focus, you can
Right.
shift your mind state
I
by
was about
using NLP techniques, right?
to.
So people might ask that you are saying this, but how to do it? That is
Right,
our question.
right, right.
It is possible because,
Right.
see, when there is a thought diarrhea, you cannot
Hmm.
control it,
Very true. Very true.
right? We need to give some
Hmm.
practical tools to them
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that they can shift their focus,
Hmm.
they can shift their state of mind,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And that through NLP means anchoring, which can we practice, we can teach them so that
Hmm.
they can become more resilient as
Hmm.
well as emotionally well aware.
True. True. Very true. So now with that we have next 15 minutes about our entire discussion, and I want to come up to a very important section of our interview or podcast that we're talking about. So what kind of emotional hygiene practices? We have self-hygiene. We keep our body clean. We keep our desk clean. We keep our clothes clean. We iron them, press them, but we don't have an emotional hygiene practice, which we also call as detoxification. We also have social media detoxification. But when it comes to emotional hygiene, what kind of emotional hygiene means to you? What do you think? Like, what is your, because we have to talk about us and then we can talk to them. So what is your emotional hygiene mean practice? Like
Okay.
you have a skin routine at when you sleep. The same thing, what is your emotional hygiene practice that you do before you go to sleep?
So this is very, I would say, raw kind of a thing,
Hmm.
right? You can means in NLP how we
Hmm.
can put it. I don't know, but I know one thing that every person is a different individual.
Right.
His upbringing, his
Hmm.
programming
Hmm.
is different from you.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you attach expectation, it is very natural. If we are doing something, we naturally get attached, we
Hmm.
naturally expect things from that person,
Hmm.
and there comes emotional disappointment,
Hmm.
right? That is our first point. However, when you have this awareness that this person is separate, he has his own individuality, he has his own value system. When you have that awareness, everything just get melt. You accept things the way it is coming, and you are not bothered about it. When you are having that balance, then you can take a next step. Whatever you want, you can then, from that victory mindset, you can ask for it and you can get it. In terms of any relationship, if we take, this is very much applicable. Emotional, these things comes when there is a relationship breakup and all those things. In that situation, we expect, that's why a lot of breakup happens. That is the major reason I have seen so far. Expectations are not meeting. That is what they're right. But when they have this first sentence that I accept you the way you are, because you are a human being, you are having odds and evens, I'm having odds and evens, I'm gonna accept you the way you are, and you need to find out just only one single reason to accept. We go with the list. ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए, उसमें these things don't need. You can fall in love with a person for one simple value, and just focus on it. Then don't add, this person is not doing that, he is careless, he don't understand feelings and emotions of me. When you have accepted, you have agreed to it, don't complain. Try to see that how you can improve it. If not happening, there are many ways.
Right. Very true. Very true.
So point here is that creating awareness, this person has come from a different background, has a different value system, has a different belief system, the way I am having. Right? When you become compulsive, you are definitely going to get disappointment. And that is the major reason of having emotional breakdown. Just have this one understanding.
So when I talk about like any practice that you do, how much of screen time do you restrict? I just want to ask you, and how effective you are in that, and how that has made a difference in your life. When you realize that screen time is something that is a biggest contributor when it comes to mental wellness or emotional hygiene, if I want to talk about it.
Yes, practically, yes, that is very important point, because that's how we are getting programmed.
Right.
We are watching, we are listening, we are experiencing things, and again escalating those things by watching different reels. If somebody is facing relationship issue, that person is on the mobile looking at the relationship related reels. How to improve, how to what are the objections, what are the problems people are facing, and how it is related to me.
Right.
It's not a solution, actually. It's like you are taking slow poison.
Yeah, it's a classic example of, when we have a problem with that particular person, we try and crib that complaint with another person who don't have the power and ability to solve that problem. Rather, you go back to the person with whom you have a problem, discuss with him or her, and get it sorted out. But we choose that, the second part, because why? We don't have to, we have that particular kind of a notion that if I say what is there in my mind, and if I see or if I tell him or her that this is what I feel and this is what I want to feel, and we just are very raw about it. As you said, that we are very raw. We just say all those things, we blabber all those things. But we have to know that, again, we have to, when I said that opinion versus fact. So if you do that exercise with yourself, that whatever expectation that I have, is it an opinion or a fact of a relationship that we are into? If it is not a fact, as you said rightly, that particular person is coming from a different background, that particular person has a different childhood, different set of value, different set of expectation. So have you ever, analyzed those, or have you talked on that, or we just have taken it for granted? Like it's like a switch, tomorrow you are in a relationship, that particular person becomes your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, anyone who has a switch in them that वो on कर दिया, all those competencies and expectation and all those would play by own by default ही है. Because
Yes,
that is a
yes, yes.
opinion, because that is how you
Okay.
are conditioned by the movies that you have watched, the content you have influenced, the kind of environment that you have in your house.
Yes,
So now you have to see in कि
right.
whatever opinion my family have, this particular surname family have, is that really applicable in the outer world? Okay, in other families as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
even,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
true.
a emotional hygiene practice that we can do.
Okay. So here I would like to add something. Whenever
Hmm.
I'm having the interaction with anxiety
Hmm.
people, I
Hmm.
always ask them that what is your input? What
Hmm.
you are feeding yourself?
Right.
And 99% I get the answers that yes, we are looking on the reels, what is happening when they are having anxiety, what are the symptoms. So I
Hmm.
said that you might be having a 10% anxiety, 20% anxiety, but by watching this,
Right.
you are increasing the intensity. And
Right.
it's all about intensity. Anxiety is all about intensity,
Very
right?
true.
You also have anxiety, I also have anxiety, but we know where to stop.
Very true.
That is what intelligence is,
Very true. Very true.
right? And when you don't know where to stop, you increase intensity. So
Mm.
first thing I ask them to stop watching,
Mm.
stop feeding your mind with these things,
Right.
and from there their journey gets started. But yes, this is
Mm.
the one point which you have highlighted, and I really want to add that
Great.
part.
It's like an analogy that I always give, that if you want to, put a brake on your vehicle, the first thing that you will do is you take away, your foot from the escalators. You have to do
Yes.
that. You can't have escalator pressed down and you're applying brake. That won't stop the car. Okay. So as you said, the magnitude of anxiety, the intensity. If you are thinking, if you're fueling the fire more and you're saying why it is not getting extinguished, because that is what you want to do. That is what you want to do, right? You want to extinguish that fire, but you're adding oil, petrol,
More fuel to it.
watching all, by watching all anxietyful kind of a thing. Then how it is going to happen? So first of all,
Hmm.
reduce the accelerator first. That is the first thing. Don't fuel your
Yes.
emotion of anxiety more by watching that kind of content, having the same discussion about it, bitching about it, complaining to the third person. That is what is all about emotional residue that you have. So daily practice jo hoega na, so you have to do like whatever emotional residue that I have in myself, whatever that emotion is, uncommunicated. If it is not to be communicated with the person, write it down, journal it, put it on paper, because
Yes, that is
people
what
keep it in themselves.
I was
Yeah,
about
they keep it
to.
in themselves, and this is it infuels. So you first of all spit it on paper, put it on paper,
Right.
because it says that paper are the most humble people. Okay, paper won't go. They are most
Yes,
patient,
yes,
the
yes,
most
yes.
humble people on which you can write. Keep on
I
writing.
started using in ninth.
Oh wow, great.
Right. I started using in my ninth. Is
Mm,
I have all the diaries. I
clear,
started
great,
in ninth, and yeah, I would say that is still my best friend,
very true, very true.
right?
Mm,
Because it is something like I'm talking to myself. It's like a
mm,
mirror,
mm,
and always giving me right path, right emotions, and right set of actions.
right.
Because of this, I would say that I have become so much balanced,
Mm,
and I could see the difference between things. I can detach myself from the emotion people easily.
true,
That's
true.
why the control is in I am having that remote control in my hand. That
Very
has
true.
really helped me, that writing it down on a paper,
Mm-hmm.
just that's a very simple yet very effective technique. You
Right.
all guys, whoever is watching, If you are having, even if there is a happy moment, write down, it
Right.
get multiplied.
Mm.
If it is very sad moment, write down, it will
Right.
just vanish.
Mm-hmm. There was one powerful sentence in one of the movie, and that while you saying that, that just clicked in my head. If anybody has watched Lunchbox, that was starrer in Irfan Khan and I think
Right.
some Kaur, the recent girlfriend of Abhishek Bachchan. I don't know.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
actress. Okay. So the main dialogue is that if you don't share with someone any of your memory, you tend to forget it, or you tend to it get lost. If you don't share anything about your memories, about your experience, it get lost. That is what he says in
Yes,
that particular dialogue, and that is so true. I think even if you are writing about your traumas, even if you're writing about your happy moments, if you share it with people, or in your diary or anywhere else, you express it. And now you have a beautiful medium of YouTube or something, that you can have that community and clans if you are, that much courageous and you want to go ahead in the world and be vulnerable enough. Yes, definitely that also is a healing therapy. Starting your own channel, I think me starting this
yeah.
own channel was a kind of a therapy for me. uh, I started
Oh,
experiencing a lot many other things, because it is so it is like a load down that you do. You feel like you are talking to people, you are connecting with lot many lives, and that gives you different satisfaction altogether. So to my viewers, I want to tell them that whatever you don't share, whatever you don't write, what you don't express, emotion, bad, whatever it is, those are lost. And I think the emotions, the feelings that are there, they are part of you. Those are the
so
part of you,
this
those are the building
remember,
blocks. Yeah, those are the building blocks. So if you are able to build a
yes,
block of emotions which are really powerful for you, and you keep it and you nurture them, that would become a fundamental, I think, a base for your personality to start with. Not the negative one,
yes,
as Smita said,
yes,
if it is not helping you, leave them. But whatever helps you, keep them, nurture them, make them stronger. That is there. Yes, was saying something.
yes. Yeah, yeah. So this remind me the book called Die Empty, right?
Huh?
There was a one question that what is the richest land on
Yeah,
the earth? And answer is graveyard,
yeah, true.
right? That is what I just
Yeah.
remember from the whatever you just said.
I think it's so important
So
for
that is
us
very nice.
to get to reality, to understand what is emotion and what is what is the imagination. So that is something, that is reality and imagination. That is the two things that we are
Yes.
in between. But between imagination and reality, whatever perception that you build, that becomes your personality. So that is a filter that you prepare. So great. I think that was like a lot of insight is coming in. So that there is a next question that I want to ask to Smita. Uh, uh, can we go to an Eastern perspective on emotional acceptance? Like I want to have this particular question. Like, have you see any kind of concept in Hinduism, Vedant, or Buddhism, or anything that you have read and talked about, even psychology, that you feel that we can take that as an acceptance kind of a funda or a mantra that you can share with our uh, viewers right now? Like how,
So
like
I have only
let me
one
reframe the
thing.
question. Sorry, let me reframe the question. Sorry. So how Eastern philosophical view of emotion is different from the Western model that we have. So if we have read a lot, we have seen the Eastern philosophy of how to view an emotion, and we have an Eastern that is for us, like our Indian way. So have you
So
seen the
we
difference
are,
in that?
yes. So yeah, yeah. So definitely there is a difference. We are so much connected with each other,
Hmm.
and that is how sometimes it is overwhelming. Sometimes there are so many emotional baggages we carry. However, that is also necessary in some point.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Carrying that baggage is also necessary in some point. However,
Right.
in Western, they don't carry.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
why they actually, and you might have seen some videos now coming up that
Hmm.
in school they are uh, they are playing some recorded things and allowing students to cry.
Oh.
Why? Just to uplift their resilience, just to give way to their emotions, just to make them emotionally aware. Because we are spending a lot of time on a screen, we have become next level of robot, I would say.
Yeah, we are numbed down. Yeah.
Right? We have numbed down.
Mm.
But for us in Indian culture, belongingness is very much necessary. And at the foundation level, we are a social animal.
True.
And that is what we have been wired, and it is going to be very difficult to change it for us.
Right.
However, Western people can adapt these things, but with this certain terms and condition, I can say.
Right.
And one sentence, every time you can just remember this one prarthana in Marathi, Manasani Manasashi Manasa Sarakhe Wagave. Right?
Very true.
He's amchi prarthana, he's amche magane. So that's it. Do it that much only.
Very true.
Nothing big fundamentals you need to follow. If you remember this thing, everything will get sorted, everything will get tackled.
Actually, it's very profound. We are going back to basics, Smita. I think what is the problem with us is that we have this refrigerator mentality. We put in all whatever we have gathered in our world in terms of knowledge, we put it into fridge, and we don't consume it right away. If we consume it, it would go into our systems. Consuming it is like practicing it. We don't practice it so often that it becomes part of us. So that is one thing. Secondly, we tend to have that particular idea, na, ki the more the better, the more the information I have, the more I'm prepared for something to, if I want to practice, if I have a breakup, I will watch hundreds of videos on how to, get out of that particular scenario. Maybe first five would help you out. Okay. And after that, every sixth, seventh, and 100th video say the same thing in different way.
Everything is same.
Same. There
Same
is
thing.
all is
Right.
basic. There is like, it is already said that all has been said, all has been done, all has been, practiced, all has been seen. The only thing is that you are not seeing it. The only thing is like you are not finding it or not practicing it. Because whatever has to be said is everybody has said it. There are so many
It's there.
lines of enlightened people, and we have saints, and we have philosophers and psychologists who are saying it for centuries and centuries. That is there. But we are not falling back to the practice part. That is one thing that we
Yes,
are
exactly.
totally away. And there is one the third thing that I want to talk about, what you mentioned, that we carry our emotional baggages. Okay. And why it is important, like Western is more about emptying it out, leaving it, catharsis. Okay, just putting it out,
They do not get attached
to it,
that
right?
much, actually.
Right.
That's why they can move
Yeah,
ahead.
that is why they can move. But there is one more view that, our Eastern psychology or Eastern philosophy says that, let's take example of universe. Like if I want to ask a question, it was a classic question that was there, and it says that why there is chaos in universe? Why there is chaos? If universe is made and created by these supreme beings, then why supreme being needs chaos, right? If supreme being has all the power and everything, then why there is a chaos, why there is a tragedy, right? Like
Hmm.
some planet would be so dangerous to live on, why he has prepared it, right? क्यों बनाए भी क्यों उसके लिए? What was the purpose of making it? Why, person like Hitler was there? We'll have asked that question, like why Julius Caesar was there. We have cruelest of cruelest people there, like chaos, and we have sense at the other end. So that was a very beautiful, yeah, that was a very beautiful
Balance.
thing. Yeah, balance is there, but how the balance would be achieved, that is the main thing. So it says that chaos guides universe towards doing things right. That's why it is needed. If there is no chaos, if there is no yin and yang, if you don't have a contrast, universe would never know what is right and what is wrong. That's why chaos is needed. You can't, we have that particular mindset, na, कि लोगों
Yes.
को लगता है कि बुराई के ऊपर अच्छाई की जीत हो जाएगी एंड एवरीथिंग कलयुग विल गो एंड सतयुग वुड कम. नो, द कलयुग एंड सतयुग्स
Hmm.
are there with you till this beginning and the end of the time. They are never gonna go. You just have to pick the side. You just have to pick the side and balance yourself. Whatever we are saying right now,
Exactly.
none of your problem is going to go away. Whatever you want to practice, okay,
Right.
whatever you want to practice, whichever philosophy, whichever religion, caste, book or philosopher you follow, nothing is going to give a miraculous view or miraculous pill that would take away everything. It is going to make you more resilient.
Definitely no.
That's the only bottom line.
Yes.
Okay. And most of the time we see that as detachment is misunderstood by being emotionally cold. हमको लगता है कि detachment क्या होता है? Acceptance, detachment is like being cold in emotions. It is not like that.
Hmm.
We have that particular understanding.
So
Why should I not?
here you need to understand who is saying that.
Yeah.
Here you need to understand who is saying that.
Yeah, yeah.
If that person is that not that much emotionally intelligent, if that person is saying, then it's obvious,
Obvious, right? Right.
right? If this sentence is said by
Mm,
someone who is
mm,
aware about the emotions and
mm, mm,
human psychology,
mm.
definitely that person will not say this.
Right. That
So
reminds me of one sentence that has been.
whenever you are going,
Yeah, one sentence that has been exploited at anything, aham brahmasmi, okay? Like we say aham brahmasmi, but when it is said by Sacred Game mein Nawazin Siddiqui, who is a villain, when he says aham brahmasmi, that is a different set together. But when a person who has, acquired the knowledge and then he has that perspective, not with arrogance, but with the acceptance that aham brahmasmi, I am the person who is creating this world that is pulled in front of me, and with an humble way,
exactly,
not in an not in an egoistic way in terms of like I control everything. No, I'm creating it, so I'm
no,
responsible for it. So that is a
yes,
very humble way
exactly,
of looking at it. And I think the detachment, when you say detachment, is more about a humble way of understanding things rather than being arrogant about it. So that is the only difference. I think the person on the two
yes,
spectrum that you see, the saint and the demons, are both required, because demon would know what saint is doing, so I can cross him, and saint know what demon is doing. I don't have to do that. So that is what how the balancing, as you said rightly, yes, that is happening, but
balance,
it is required. That is the important thing. So why we have to accept the chaos, why we have to accept the bad patch in our life, why we have to accept traumas, because if the traumas, if the bad patch, if the bad people, bad instances are not there in your life and they didn't created those emotions, you would have never had a blueprint of what you want to become in future, right? I
yeah.
think that
So
is,
I had this
yeah.
one, yeah, I just said this one sentence to my mentee,
Hmm,
that whenever you are facing any negative person, right, whenever in
hmm,
maybe you are facing negative situation,
hmm,
it is there
hmm,
because you are feeling that negativity. Why? Because you are positive,
hmm, hmm,
right? That's
hmm.
why. Otherwise, negativity would have attracted,
Yes, positive.
become a one team.
Negative, positive.
However, you
Hmm,
are able to discriminate, or you
hmm.
able to see the difference. That
Right.
means you are having more power,
Very true. Very true.
right?
Hmm, hmm,
Instead of complaining, you are seeing that yes, this is the person I have to stay away from. This is the awareness.
hmm, hmm.
That's it.
There's one sentence that my granny used to always say, that the person who is committing a crime or any undue advantage, if he is taking, he is blind or he is unknown of it. So forgive him of his ignorance. Forgive him that he don't know what he is doing. The same thing that Jesus said, that I forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. So when he was crucified, he was saying that,
Exactly.
Father, please forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. So I think it's a really powerful sentence. I think last 15 minutes has been a lot of churning that we were able to pull in, a lot of great sentences that we came in, that acceptance, yes. Chaos is needed in your life because you would get a blueprint of your entire life where you want to head into, which direction you have to go into. So appreciate, accept chaos. And as Smita said, that if you are able to see somebody is doing bad, that is a very powerful insight, because somewhere your humanity, your consciousness is still awake, that you can feel that particular emotions, and you are able to feel that what is wrong, what is that I don't want. Let's see what he is doing, that is a different story, but what I don't want, if that perspective is there, that is far more powerful for you to redirect towards a different goal that you're trying to do, because that is important. If you're not,
Exactly.
if you're so that much numb, you would be staying in the toxic relation for entirety. That is there. So if you're getting that particular emotion, why I'm feeling this, because you're feeling this because you have to redirect yourself somewhere. Somewhere your consciousness is aware.
Exactly.
Utilize it, make it more powerful, make that particular voice more louder, amplify it. So that is one of the things that you do as far as your emotions acceptance is concerned. So I think, Smita, any last thought that you want to give before we wrap up? We are already like 1 minute into our podcast. Yeah.
Yes, we have ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever we say that detachment, it's awareness.
Mm. True.
That's it. You need to become aware about yourself.
Mm.
And if you are emotionally getting broken me frequently, that means you need to fix inside something.
True. Very,
Once you do it, there
mm.
won't be any challenge left.
Very true. Very true. I think this is so much insightful, so much profound words. And I think this is what our work is. Smita, on her front, when she's talking about her area of dominance, which is anxiety, where she talks about these all techniques is what we practice in that particular realm. And within our mentee circles and within our workshops or whichever services that we give, even WisdomSeed, when I consult my clients, I do practice all this particular part, or these techniques are taught to them to make you more emotionally resilient. Because if 90% of your entire life is governed by emotions, it's better that you understand, accept, and redirect. That is the only thing. You can't control them. Let me be very clear about it. You can't control and repress them. They would come with some other form. It's an energy. So only you can do is you have to be aware of it. You have to accept it and redirect it towards certain areas of your life. So with that statement,
Exactly.
I would like to thank everyone who have joined us, who have listened to us. And as this series is progressing ahead, I'm really excited for next coming up topic, which will be on coming Friday. So we will be doing that as well. That is on
Yes.
18th of April, and we have a different topic. So stay tuned with our channel. Our LinkedIn page as well is there. In our discussion box, we have our Facebook pages as well, our website as well. So all required communication channels are open for everybody, whoever feels that we are there for you to help on your challenges and how to become
Yes.
emotionally
We can
resilient
reach out.
for a better life. So great. Thank you, Smita, so much
Thank
for
you.
your time. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
I I,
Thank you so
I have
much,
less
Abhijit,
words.
for having
Yeah. So see you in next
me.
podcast. And till then, have a great evening ahead. Thank you.